So today we're going to be checking out the Brute Force Humbuckers from Bareknuckle, which are loaded in this Charvel. And I've been using these for about a good 4 or 5 months, I believe. It came with Seymour Duncan full shred set, and I wanted something a little bit different. Now, this is my first pickup set from Bareknuckle, aside from a True Grit neck pickup that I originally installed with a Brute Force bridge, but I just find they didn't match very well. So yeah, they're both Brute Force sets. Now, I'm just going to go through, I want to make this as short as possible. I just want to go through some tones, just so you can get a bit of a demonstration, just because I haven't seen that many videos out there. So we're going to run through. Now, I only have a 3-way switch on this Charvel. I took it out. I took the original 5-way out of the guitar because I don't like split coil sounds on a humbucker. I just don't think they sound good unless they're combined with something else. So in the middle position, I just have a split inner coil sounds instead of both humbuckers running parallel together. So it's just bridge humbucker, middle is the split inner coils, and that's full neck. Now, tone is disengaged, and this is all going to be with the volume knob rolled up. We've got 3 different sounds we're going to have. We're going to have completely dry and clean, which is going through a Roland JC120 through the helix. Next is a little bit more of a cranked Vox sound, and the next one is just going to be a typical metal style with, so it's going to be a PV 6150 style amp with the little green pedal in front of it. So without further ado, let's hear some clean tones. Starting with the neck humbucker. Bridge humbucker. Okay, so already a little bit more breakup. Now for the split inner coils. So, I mean, the obvious thing there is that it's not completely clean. We've not got no glassy. The only reason why it's running through a JC120 style amp is because no matter what I try to run this through, it's very hard to get a good clean tone out of, that I found. Generally, that's not a problem because I usually run, if I have a clean sound, I am running a compressor in front of the amp. So I can bring the level down a bit. And that's a very common thing with, you know, high output pickups, running a compressor through the start, in the start of your chain, and then just lowering the output level of it. It will help, but I haven't got it engaged here just because I want you to hear what the pickups are actually doing. Okay, but there is still a lot of clarity for the amount of beef that these are chunking out. So let's move on. Let me find it here. Got more of an overdriven Vox sound. So I'm going to start on the bridge pickup. I'm actually going to bring the gain down a touch. Neck humbucker. And then a split inner coil sound. So it's very easy to get breakup style tones with these pickups. You really don't have to push the amp too much. So that is just a Vox AC130 style patch with nothing in front of it. I know there's a bit of noise. I've also got no noise gate because I don't want it to interfere with the tone. And it's fairly stock settings as well. So you can get a lot, especially if you don't have, you know, a particularly high gain amp. These pickups are going to really help you out. Now, for the next setting, we are going to move on to a much more distorted metal kind of sound, which is where these pickups obviously are at home. They're the brute force set. They're a high output ceramic style pickup with an incredibly tight bass response. Now, what I found is it can almost sound too tight. Now, I'm talking that I have a 25.5 scale guitar. The lowest I ever tune for anything is drop D. And I use fairly light gauge strings as well. These are just a 10 to 46 set. So it's pretty bright as it is. And you can find, especially if you don't dial it back in through an amp, you can find you lose a lot of the low end. So I'm going to sort of demonstrate that now. I'll do the neck pickup just for the sake of it, even though you're probably never going to use this in that kind of setting. And then a split in a coil sound. So obviously they are right at home in that kind of setting. Now, they are very matched pickups. Obviously it's a matched set. Now that can be a good or a bad thing. If you're looking to have no compromise, especially for, if I took a really high gain lead kind of sound, where you get that almost sort of protrusory, liquidy. And if I wanted to switch up to the neck pickup, it doesn't sound weak compared to the bridge pickup. That can be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on what kind of setting you're using it for. I have to cover a whole range of styles. Generally, I don't have the need for a high output neck pickup. Especially when it comes to high gain soloing, I'm just going to be on the bridge pickup for most things anyway. And if I want something softer, I'd like to be able to go to the neck pickup and just have it, you know, a much weaker pickup to get the dynamics and sweetness that I want. And especially for cleans, I kind of like having a big volume mismatch. Now I'm talking something like a JB jazz set, where they're very different pickups, but similarly voiced, if that makes sense. And I do kind of miss that. And I'm thinking about changing, but that's nothing compared to the pickups itself. I find you've got match sets and very mismatched sets. Two can be advantageous depending on what you're doing. Now, the great thing about these are, obviously they're hand wound. Now, I've tried similar sets of cheaper pickups anyway, that have similar, they've been ceramic, they've been similarly voiced and output, but nothing responds the way these Bareknuckles do. There's something about them, they're very open. Again, these are really high output pickups, but they still sound very clear and you get what a lot of people go on about is note definition, especially in chords under high gain circumstances. Which is kind of, you know, what you're looking for, especially in a modern metal setting. That's kind of what you're after. But other than that, I've got nothing else to say about their pickups. At the end of the day, their pickups. It's up to you what kind of thing they sound like. I've tried to cover a bunch of different things here rather than having a million different tone examples. This is mostly dry stuff, just going through an amp just to get you an idea of what they sound like, but as well as my 2 cents. Again, I've owned these for quite a few months, so it's not like I've been sent these and I've had 5 minutes to play with them. So if you're on the fence about buying some, feel free to shoot me a message or leave a comment down below, and I can answer. You know, I've used this in a couple of different guitars as well. But yeah, just let me know. Let me know how you think, and yeah, this is very unscripted. This is my first actual review demo of something like this in a very long time. So yeah, guys, hope you all enjoyed watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.